Seriously, if this plate of food don't make you happy, I don't know what will. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be making an easy but yet delicious recipe. In today's video, we are making braised short ribs. So to make this, we are going to be using 3 bay leaves. I have some parsley and thyme tied together, and I have 1 lime I'll be using to clean the ribs. And I have about 2 to 2.5 teaspoons of my Haitian Epis, or the green seasoning. If you don't know how to make this, check the card that just came up to show you how to make that. And I'll be using some olive oil and lots of garlic. 1 onion I'll be chopping, and I am going to be using a little bit of liquid smoke. This is optional, you don't have to, but I just love that smoky flavor. And we're going to be using about 2 to 3 teaspoons of tomato paste, and I am going to be using about 4 cups of beef broth. And for a little bit of heat, I'm going to be using a little red crushed red pepper, and I have some mushrooms. The mushrooms, you can use way more than this. This is all I had on hand, and I just wanted to use them. And these are the short ribs. I have 2 of these packs, so there's about 8 short ribs. Okay, and of course you are going to be needing some salt and pepper to taste, and we are going to be using a heavy skillet to make this, a Dutch oven skillet. Okay, don't forget to check the description box where you can find all the ingredients and the exact measurements. So let's get cooking, guys. To get started, you want to go ahead and grab your short ribs. I like to trim some of the fat off. You don't have to trim all of them off, but I do like to trim majority of it off. I have a love and hate relationship with short ribs. Sometimes I feel like it's a waste of my money to go to the store and buy them, and there's not much meat in there. But sometimes, if you're lucky, it depends on where you shop for them, you can find quite a bit of meat in there. For example, this one is really decent. There's a lot of meat in that one. So just pick through when you are buying short ribs. Make sure it's going to be worth the money, because they are not cheap. So just take your time, look through, and pick a good one. So, like I said, trim as much of the fat as you can. You can see I have a little amount of fat still in that one, which is okay. Sometimes you almost have to peel that first layer without taking out a lot of the meat. Okay. Just like that. Now that I have all that fat trimmed off, and there was quite a bit of fat in mine, I am going to take that lime and really rub on each one of the ribs. And then once I'm done with that, I am going to go ahead and rinse it under some cold water before we start seasoning the ribs. Now that I'm done rinsing it out, I'm going to use this same bowl to season it, just because I don't want to get so many dishes dirty. So you want to go ahead and put some black pepper, 1 to 2 teaspoons of black pepper. And I'm going to put in some salt, 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt as well. And I am going to put in my green seasoning. Before I put that, let me put that liquid smoke. So I'm going to just take a little bit. Don't put too much of that, guys. Maybe half a teaspoon. Okay. I just want that smoky flavor without it taking over my whole dish. Okay. And I'm using this green seasoning because I'm Haitian and I can't do anything without Epis. But if you haven't tried this, give this a try. And I promise you guys will not regret it. And I am not adding no garlic powder, onion powder, none of that stuff in there. Just because I am going to be using lots of garlic and onions in this dish. So I am going to let this sit for a good 30 minutes before we start browning it. Meanwhile, if you are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we upload. And also don't forget to check us out on our social media platforms. All links will be down in the description box for you guys to check us out. Thank you guys so much. So I had to make a few changes. This is the onion I was going to be using. As you can see, it is in no shape for me to be using. So we're going to toss this out. Luckily, I had half a white onion and I had some red onions, which I don't normally use red onions to cook with. I normally put them in my salad, but for today, it's going to have to be our backup helper. So we're going to use that instead of that whole white onions or yellow onions. So I'm just going to chop my onions and I am going to chop the garlic as well. I have about 6 cloves of garlic, but you can use more if you wish, totally up to you. Some say garlic help with corona, I guess. Don't quote me, I'm not a doctor. This is what I've heard from the Haitian herbal community, aka my family. So if you want to use more garlic, go ahead and do so, okay? So I'm going to chop the garlic the same way, then we can start browning our ribs. And if you want, you can add some carrots to this. I just choose not to add any carrots to mine today, but you can definitely add some carrots to yours if you wish. You want to go ahead and set your stove to medium high. I am using my Dutch oven pot, and I am going to go ahead and put that 1 to 3 teaspoons of olive oil. As you can see, it is super hot. You want to make sure you use a heavy skillet because we are going to put that same skillet under the oven. And put your ribs in there. We are looking for them to brown up before we add any liquid to that pot. So I'm going to do these 5. Once they're done, after like maybe 5 minutes, flip them to the other side so the other side can brown up as well. Then I will continue browning the rest before we do anything else to this pot. My meat is looking good. So now I am going to take them out. As you can see, nice brown color. Take them out. That pan is nice and hot. You're going to have all that extra great flavor underneath. I feel like it's about to make me cough. And now I am going to add the onions, not the garlic yet. And we're going to saute the onions for a few minutes. Let them sweat before we add the garlic. Now we can add the garlic. That pan is so smoky. I apologize that you guys can't see much in there, but you guys can see what's going on in there. What went into the pot, I should say. Okay? Just the onions and garlic sauteing. Nothing crazy is happening yet. And to that, I'm going to add about 2 to 3, I'll do 2 teaspoons or 2.5. Again, check the description box where I would list the exact measurements, okay, of tomato paste. And we are going to cook that tomato paste for a good 2 minutes, because we don't want raw tomato taste when we are eating this at all, even though we are going to braise it for 5 hours. So you want to go ahead and turn on your oven to 225 degrees, okay? And now I'm going to add my my mushroom and cook them for a few minutes as well. Now there's going to be a nice deglazing action, so you want to go ahead and take that liquid and add it to the pot. I'm going to add half just so I can mix everything up. If you want to use red wine to do this, you can definitely do so with red wine. This is 4 cups of that beef broth. I am going to add another cup. Okay, you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and add another cup before I start flavoring this sauce. So now all that extra seasoning that was left on my red bowl when I was seasoning, add a little bit of that liquid and pour all that extra flavor into it. Taste, of course. And now we are going to be adding our spices. Add the bay leaf, thyme, and parsley. And I am going to add a little bit of heat, that red pepper flake. Not much, depending on how spicy you want yours. And I am going to let that boil for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now we are going to grab the ribs and put them into that pot again. That tomato paste is going to make that gravy nice and thick for us once it's all done cooking. That's why it's so important to use that tomato paste. Just put them in there. And you can do this recipe in a crock pot or in your Instant Pot. Do the same steps in your Instant Pot and cook it for 6 to 7 hours, probably. Okay. Cover it up. I'm going to stick this under the oven so that braising action can happen. I'm going to let it braise for 4 to 5 hours. 225 degrees. Our short ribs are finally done. As you can see, the liquid reduced quite a bit. I did turn up the heat to 325 degrees for the last hour out of that 5 hours. So because I wanted that liquid to decrease a lot, and I wanted it to be a little thicker too. So because of that, it did thicken up. I didn't have to add any flour or any cornstarch to it. But look at this, you guys. It looks so good. I am so excited for you guys to try this recipe. Look at that. And if you don't have that Haitian green seasoning, don't worry. You can definitely do this recipe without it. But it just adds so much more flavor to this. Of course, I'm going to taste, which I already did. But I'm going to taste. So much flavor. I am going to eat mine with some cheesy grits. If you don't know how to make cheesy grits, go ahead and check the card so you guys can learn how to make it. I'm going to take a nice juicy piece and place it on top because I will be using this to take my pictures. And of course, you want to remove that parsley and thyme that we tied together. And of course, remove the bay leaves as well, okay? So place, oh, this looks so good. I'm going to take 2 just so I can make for a perfect picture. I want to show you how the meat is just falling off the bone. Look at that. But I want it to stay together for a little longer. And I'll take some of that gravy with a little bit of that mushroom and just pour right on top of it. Seriously, I know y'all want to eat this bowl right now. Look at that. And I chopped some fresh parsley, just put right on top. And I like to put a little bit of that thyme as well, and this is ready for pictures. Look at this, you guys. I can't wait to dig into this. I hope you guys try this recipe, and if you do, don't forget to tag me on social media if you post, or just send me pictures. But I have to get out of here because I have to go eat. But I love you guys so much for watching, and continue to stay safe. I love you guys so much. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.